So the Zoom link for the final will be the same as the one you're in right now. There's 3 attendance problems, and they are just making sure you understand the dates for everything, which is at the bottom where the exams are. Here's the take-home portion of the final and the in-person. The in-person is next Wednesday at 8 a.m. So be careful, it's not our regular time. It's 8 to 10:30. The take-home portion is due on May 11th by 11:59, along with any other late material you have till then, but I cannot take anything after that. So the 3 attendance problems, all the answers are right here. At the very top, what to get on the final to get the grade you want. You put whatever grade you want, 90, 80. If you want an B minus, I forget what the minuses and pluses are. I always pull them up when I'm doing grades. But they're on the syllabus. So if you open the syllabus, it'll show you that. Then this is your current grade. If you calculate this and multiply it by 100, it lets you know what you need on the final. The final's worth 100 points. Any questions on that? You do have to take the final. It's 25% of your grade. And you can't pass the class without taking it. We reviewed the problems for the in-person. There were 8 questions. In last class, we were reviewing some of the take-homes. We did number 5. Number 4, start with page 311. And then if you need more information, you can Google it. I just want to make sure you understand what it means. Just a short paragraph. A paragraph's 5 sentences. Also, make sure you have a paragraph for this answer. And we started we did number 2 also. But we started number 1. And to find, the mean, you add all of them up and divide by how many there are. But because it was so large, we used Desmos, and it gave us the average or the mean. But either way, you want to add all of them up and divide by how many there are. Now, the mode is most often. And what I did, I put it into, if I can get all of it, a stem and leaf, all the numbers. So this would be 9.88, 9.89, 9.94. And I noticed we said the 10.26 is there twice, but there was another one that's twice, 10.94. So 10.94 is there twice. So there's 2 modes. Oops, it was a 9.4. 10. Since they're both there twice, there's 2 mode. And then this is easier to find the largest minus the smallest now. The largest, 11.96. Smallest, 9.88. Any questions on that? So if you were here last class, there's 2 mode. And I think this was a lot. Was it? Oh no, it is a 10. 10.94 was there twice and 10.26. It was, yeah, that's a 3. It was the only, those were the only 2. Any questions? Smallest, largest, median is the middle. Smallest, largest, the median is the middle number. And I counted, there's 35 pieces of data. The middle one leaves 34 pieces of data, which means if I divide it in half, there'll be 17 on each side. So I need to count 17 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this should be the middle one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's 17 on each side of this one. That means our median is 1094. Any questions? Or the lower and upper quartiles, you do the same thing, except it would be below. So that's 17 or below. Take out the 1 in the middle. Divide it by 2, and there's 8 on each side. So you would count 8, and then the next one, the 9th one, is your median. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this should be the lower quartile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 on each side. 10.28. Any questions? What would the upper quartile be? Yes, 11.42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Any questions on that? For the box plot, you put a vertical line at each one of these. Is there any questions on the box plot? Well, this I should have went by 4s maybe. 2. Yeah. I didn't have enough room, so I'm changing my units. 8, 6, 11. 98.8, so about here. 10.28 there. 9.4. 4.2. 9.6. And then put box. Any questions? How do we find IQR, the inner quartile range? Anyone? The inner quartile range is the range of the quartiles. Yes. The upper quartile minus the lower quartile. And what are we getting? Anyone? So the range here, this middle 50% is 1.14. Upper and lower fence. This gives the outliers. The outliers are below the lower quartile minus 1.5 times the IQR. And they are above the upper quartile plus 1.5 times the IQR. It's a little bit smaller. Any questions? When you get the lower fence, type it in. 1.5 times 857, yes. So if a value is below 8.57, it's an outlier. And then what are we getting for the upper? Anyone? And just calculate this, whatever you get above that will be an outlier. So this one's the lower fence. And this is the upper fence. In this one, was it 8.5? Our smallest was 9.88, so there's no outlier there. 11.96. Yeah, there's no outliers, at least in this data. Because there's no value below this and above this. Any questions on that? The Arctic sea ice extent in November 2016 was 9.08 million square kilometers. Compare this with the data, and is it an outlier? So our lowest data was 9.8, and this is 9.08. Looks like it could be, but when we look at our lower fence, it's 8.57. So even though this is much lower than our smallest value, it's still not an outlier. It's not below 8.57. Any questions on that? No. Okay. Is there any questions on number 3? It's the only one we didn't do. There we go. I am confused about the probability section. Okay. And let me. Okay. Let's look at the winnings first, just to make sure we have everything correct. And you do want to remember it costs $4 to play, so you need to keep that in account. You need to subtract the $4. So it says $4 to play, you spin a spinner and toss a coin. Answer the questions that follow. And so here's our spinner and our coin. If you get red heads, you win $10. So for our winnings, we don't need that part. A red head, we win $10, but it costs $4 to play. So we get $6. If you get blue heads, you win $7 minus the cost to play. Is that what everyone got? 6, 3. Green heads, you win 4. So winning's 0. You break even on that one. Yellow heads is 2. 2 minus 4, you're losing $2. And any color with tails, you win nothing. So we lose our $4. When you're finding the probabilities and you're doing two different things, the first thing you need to decide is if they are independent or dependent. If we spin the spinner and toss the coin, are they dependent events or independent?
Independent.
Yes, because one doesn't rely on the other. When I spin this, it's not going to change my probabilities for tossing a coin. They're still 50-50. So that means we can take the probability of each one and multiply them together. So if we look at the first one, I guess we do need the spinner. We look at the first one, red heads. What is the probability of spinning a red?
2 out of 8.
And we want a heads. What's the probability of tossing a heads?
1/2.
Multiplying them together. Now I'm not going to reduce because when I add up, they should add up to 1. So it's just a way of double checking. But you could have reduced and got 1/8. Do the same thing with the blue. What's the probability of spinning a blue? Looks like there's 2. So 2 out of the 8. And a heads is a half. So both of those I have 2/16 probability. Now, if you wanted the decimal, you could divide them and get the decimal. Green heads. What's the probability of spinning a green?
3/8.
And the heads, of course, didn't change. So it's still 1/2. What's the probability of yellow?
1/8.
Times the half. 1/16. How about the last one? When you spin the spinner, what's the probability that you can get any color you want. It doesn't matter. What's the probability?
8/8.
Right. Or 1. You're definitely going to land on one of them. Well, unless they count a line, but 8/8 or just 1. I'm using 8/8 because I want to keep the same denominator. Probability of a tail. 1/2. Notice when you add these 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8, 16/16. That means I got all of them. And that's why I didn't reduce. Now, if you add the decimals, you add all the decimals, they'll add up to 1. Any questions on that? To get the contributions, just multiply across. Any questions on those?
Will we have a problem like this for the in-person test?
There was one, but you didn't have to set the probabilities up. It's already set up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this part will already be set up. You just have to find and explain the expected value. It's
Right.
here on page 324, number 12 that we did. Similar to, no, that's not that one. Wait a minute. Histogram, independent probability. Oh, no, there isn't one. Oh, yes, there is. There it is. I knew there was one. It's number 6. Okay. Page 341, number 48. But it's already set up. You just find the expected value.
With the expected value, we multiply the contributions. Or no, we combine them.
We add
Right.
them, yeah.
Yeah, add them. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So it says part B says to find the expected value and explain it. The expected value is just adding these. I didn't round since the decimal wasn't too long. I left the whole thing to be more exact. Since it is money, you need at least 2 because that's your nearest cent. But what are you getting for the expected value? Anyone?
-1?
Yeah.
Wait, so whenever we're like adding everything up, so for the negative numbers, it's not subtracting, it's like adding a negative number, right?
Right. You
I
can
don't
think
know.
of it as it's adding a negative, which is the same as subtracting.
Right, yeah,
But
okay.
yeah. So you are adding them together, but because it's a negative, it ends up subtracting. Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
So in this case, if you play this game a lot, you'll lose $1 per game. Most games should be at a negative because if they were a positive, then the person who's having the game isn't making any money. But in the long run, you will lose $1 a game. So make sure you explain that. Any questions on that? Let me show you the one that'll be on the exam. We'll like it. I think that's it. But let's make sure we did everything on these first. So that was number 3. Yeah, we did them all. So the last 2 days we reviewed for the exam and went over the take home. Any questions on this one? The one that will be similar to the one on the test will be these 8. The expected value one, page 341. Maybe. So page 341, number 48. It was this. So it will be set up already, and you just find the expected value, where that would be multiplying these together and adding them up. We did that Monday. So there is one on the exam, but the probabilities are already there. Any questions on that? Okay. Any other questions? The 8 on the exam are very similar to these. You will have to graph a histogram, find mean, median, mode, and range. Be able to explain independent and dependent events. Know make sure you have it written. I mean, you can Google it, but the population of the US is around 330 million. So as long as you're somewhere 300 to 335 million, somewhere in there. And the world, 7.8 billion, somewhere near there. So between 7.5 and 8 billion. But you could put those on formula sheet. The complement is 1 minus this probability. Sensitivity and specificity. You could write those down if you wanted. But we did all of these Monday and Tuesday. Any questions? Any questions on the in-class or the take-home? If you do not have any questions, our exam is next Wednesday, 8 a.m. on this same Zoom. But if you have questions before that, text me, email me. Any questions? Okay. If you don't have any questions, I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
You too.